Rugga Muffin podcast. Welcome back, all. This is X reacting to rugby, and we're back with another episode. We are broadcasting from home. Today, we've got a virtual session going. There will be weekends where we'll be very busy on the Saturday, and we will be forced to sort of do it this way. So we figured let's give it a try, see how it goes. Ladies and gentlemen, quite a bit to go through. A lot of games that have happened, a lot of games to happen. But we want to start off the show. Just want to play a game quickly. All right. We do know that comparisons are going to be flying around. As soon as that international window opens, it's comparisons left, right, and center. So we will start the comparisons. We're going to play a game called One Must Go. Pretty simple game. Obviously, we will have two players. We're all going to be focusing on the wingers. Obviously, I felt like let's keep it nice and safe. A position I've played quite a bit in my sort of short rugby career, and discuss in terms of just the comparisons we're going to see. We've got the Nations Championship coming. We've got the greatest rivalry. We will do that. So, yeah, we're going to jump straight into the game. We'll start with a few comparisons. Dini?
Pairing 1. Can you hear me, X?
Yes, sir.
Cheslin Kolbe versus Caleb Clark.
Cheslin Kolbe and Caleb Clark. Now those are pretty different type of players. One obviously a more bigger, more stronger runner. He's actually improved his ability in the air, but I'll definitely go with Cheslin Kolbe. Obviously, multifaceted player. He'll give you feet, he'll give you strength. He can be a scrum half if he wants to. He's now our kicker. So Cheslin Kolbe over there, any day.
Pairing 2. Darcy Graham versus
Ooh.
Semi Radradra.
Oh, that is a hectic one. Oh, now if obviously now I'll go with Semi Radradra. Maybe I'm gonna be a bit spicy with this one. If Darcy Graham was good enough, he would have stayed in South Africa. He would have been a Springbok. maybe let's just be spicy and say that. But I'll go with Semi Radradra. Obviously, the Fijian type of play, very elusive. The offloading game, his height, the length of sort of his arms, his legs. Yeah. We go with Semi Radradra there.
Third pairing. Will Jordan versus Kurt Lee Arendse.
Will Jordan, the technician, I think for the way that the All Blacks play, especially off late, they're still trying to figure out who their number 10 is. I think Will Jordan helps them a lot, especially at fullback. I don't know. They're still trying to figure out whether he's a fullback or wing. Oh, you said Will Jordan and who's the other guy?
Kurt Lee Arendse.
I go with Kurtley. I go with Kurtley's strike rate. I'd rate Kurtley as a faster runner. I'll go with Kurtley there. I don't know
Another
if the
pairing.
listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go with another pairing. The listeners are not chiming in here. I'd like to hear from whoever's watching their opinion in these comparisons. But we continue.
Tommy Freeman versus Makazole Mapimpi.
I'll go with Tommy. Tommy Freeman, again, with Tommy, is he an outside center? Is he a wing? We'll probably get that answer when England name their team next week. A youngster compared to Magazole Mapimpi. I feel like Magazole, a lot of people would say he's sort of one-dimensional and whatnot, but he does what a wing needs to do. But with Tommy Freeman, I feel like you get quite a bit more there. He's strong, he's young, maybe his career. We'll see if his career does better, but I'll go with Tommy.
Max Jorgensen versus Louis Biari. Yo,
Yes.
these names.
That's a French wing. Louis Bilberi, Le Beep Beep, and Max Jorgensen. I'll go with Louis Bilberi. I'll go with Louis. He is in the running for winning the Player of the Year already, just from the Six Nations. Obviously, we'll see how the France do with these Nations Championships, and we'll see how he fares out. He does play for Bordeaux, so I would assume that he's gonna be playing against New Zealand this coming weekend. But I'll go with Louis Bilberi, number one. I think we've got one last one.
I think the last one. Why is it taking long to open now? Okay, the other one is Theo Adisogbe versus Ange Capuzzo.
Oof, that's Theo Etisogbi and Ange Cupuazzo from Italy. Oh, this I'm seeing these last two are more of like veteran and newcomer. Theo Etisogbi has seemed to be the solution for France, especially with the high ball. They even dropped Damien Penou for Theo in the last international window. Ange Cupueto, star player for France, playing at fullback. I go with Theo Etisogbi. I go with Theo. He's lanky, he's powerful, he's tall. Ange Cupuezo, his defense, I feel like he's not as strong in defense as what he's literally what you'd expect from a person his size when it comes to defense, in my opinion. Yes, Cheslin Kolbe does get run over as well here and there, but he holds his own. So I'll go with Theo Etisogbi from France. Yeah, that
That's
wraps
it.
the game up, guys. We are gonna jump straight into the score updates. This weekend, second division Currie Cup. We always need to pay tribute to the local rugby in South Africa. We did have Griffins playing SWD. SWD are on top of the log, winning 54-26 against the Griffins, who are the defending champions. SWD now head coach Heineke Meyer. And also take note, there's a word before SWD Eagles, there's dot Shaw. And as soon as you start seeing a word in front of the team's name, you must know there's a bit of backing. So I think this season, a lot of turnaround. There were comments from the head coach of the Pumas saying he feels that SWD should be in the what do you call this, should be in the Premier Division Currie Cup. They did fall short in that SA Cup. They didn't qualify, hence they're playing the second division, but they do seem to be dominating. Another fixture that I want to highlight is the Eastern Province versus Leopards. Eastern Province winning 40 points to 32. That game looked like it was quite a tough one. Penalty try awarded to EP on the dying minutes of the game. CJ Velleman, a name that I get excited every time I see on that EP team sheet. Pardon me. Um, um, scoring two tries, taking Eastern Province ahead. It was a back and forth. Leopards were leading 15 points to 12 at halftime of that game. And then the Falker, who was sitting number two on the log, putting away the Border Bulldogs, 96 points to 19. That's crazy. Border
Oh,
Bulldogs really need to shake up. Things
I
are not
think the
looking good.
Bulldogs were the first ones to score in that match. I think I watched the first 10 minutes. I didn't know it ended that bad, hey? And it was just
Yeah.
up the road from where we are. It was in Campton Park, correct?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Falcott did not leave anything out there. Talking about big scores, we have to move swiftly. Junior Boks versus Uruguay, 104 points to 7. Now, a lot of people will look at the score and ask things, what's the purpose of this fixture? There's no competition. It's we need to note that Uruguay, Spain, I'm not too sure who the other country is. It could potentially be Japan, who also took the junior All Blacks to the wire in their fixture. That game was cancelled because of lightning. But 104-7. The junior Boks I was very impressed with their defensive efforts. So now the junior Boks did manage to hold them out. I mean, they did score that 7 points literally on the 82nd minute. But in that first half, there was about a 5 to 8 minute passage where those junior Boks were literally sitting on their try line and they managed to prevent that Uruguay team. Uruguay is showing us a little bit about the Super Rugby South Americas. There is a Super Rugby that's played between Argentina, Uruguay, Spain over there. 17 out of the 23 of those Uruguay players will have caps in that Super Rugby. There's obviously that's their sort of highest level of competition. That's what we would consider the URC. A good fight, but listen, set piece dominance from the junior box. I think Rambo Kubeka, I mean, out of the scores, the guys that scored, I mean, Risima Kosa got a hat trick. Jordan Steenkamp got a hat trick. If you're looking there, you'll see there's even a penalty try involved, two tries for Kutato Rashivenga, who's one, geez, acrobatic finisher, that boy. Lanky, tall from the Sharks. Gertkamp also having a runaway try. Jaden Brits running like a, geez, Jaden Brits is like a wing. Strong carrier, loves to score the try. Also, Siposetu Nebelele was awarded a try by Chiswell Euster. Talking about Chiswell Euster, that kid is a cheat code. All that the number 10, Elzidin Felix, had to do was just punt the ball into space, and Cheslin will be there to regather. Pure dominance from the Junior Springboks. Again, I do want to sort of chat a little bit with the. So there's a rule in that Junior Springbok. Well, there's a rule that's going to be passed, I hear, the below the sternum tackles, and there was a call there where it. I mean, with coaching now, I mean, even the Springboks have got like a referee part of the coaching setup. You're always trying to look at how can you bend the rules, how can you take advantage of how the things are worded in the rule book. And for me, how these players are dipping into tackle, there's no way that that tackle will be below the sternum. So that was a bit annoying, something I took note of, wanted to just chat about and ask you guys what you feel about these below the sternum, especially if you're picking up the ball in that pillar post sort of channel. You're nice and crunched down. How low can you go if you're not allowed to make a tackle while you're on your knees? Because that's the next best thing, is just to go on your knee and then just drive up into the tackle, and therefore you will probably hit that person below the sternum. But other than that, I don't know. I don't know how you achieve that. But Rambo Kubeka, I selected as the star player of the game, leader. Just listening to that boy speak to the referee, listening to him, just watching him lead and command the team, making the correct calls with the penalties, taking the set piece. I feel like that first half was really about the set piece, trying to get that dominance. But in the second half, they made those changes. Another is a Uester. There's another Uester who's playing prop, came in with Mnebelele. Oh, it was just, yeah. And Wasi, the flanker coming on. It was bad. So the Junior Boks, that was their last preparation game. They are done with preparations now. Uruguay was a good preparation game. Now they have a test. They are playing Georgia on Thursday. That game will be at 6:30 as well. Georgia are hurting. The way things are looking, Georgia are not making it into playoffs because they lost dying minutes against Wales, meaning now they need to win all their games and they need us to lose a game. And we're not about to lose a game to Georgia. So Georgia are looking down the barrel out of playoff contention as hosts of the tournament. And we're going to continue with tournaments. The big tournament coming up is the Nations Championship. Now, I want us to huddle up, guys. We need to huddle and we need to come a bit closer. We don't need to be loud about this, but I want us to talk about this. So we've got the Nations Championship. Just to break it down, how it'll work, we've got two conferences. The first conference is basically the Six Nations. That's England, Ireland, Wales, Italy, France. I'm forgetting another one, Scotland. All right. So these teams have their own tournament. They play each other, and the current winners of the Six Nations are France. All right. So technically, France are number one in the north currently, and South Africa in the south. You've got the Rugby Championship nations: South Africa, Australia, Argentina, New Zealand, plus Japan, plus Fiji. All right. So these two conferences are not going to play against each other, but they're going to be playing across conference. All right. So it's similar to how the international window would look, but the first three fixtures starting this coming weekend, the north is coming to the south, and at the end of the year, the south goes to the north. Now, this is where I want us to start to get our tones down. We need to sort of speak a bit lower here because there's a couple of things we need to address. The first one is the structuring of the actual tournament. Is this designed to improve the game in general, or is this a way to sort of create a bit of parity between the Northern Hemisphere country or nations with the Southern Hemisphere? It is pretty clear it's only England who tends to sort of interrupt our playoffs in the World Cup, who will be there in the semi-final, but it will generally be Argentina, New Zealand, South Africa, and England. So the North really struggle to make playoffs. But this way, you are guaranteed a Northern Hemisphere team in the semi, in the final, in the quarter, because one plays one, two plays two, three plays three in those playoffs. And these playoffs will be in London. Here's another conversation. Does the final destination change from year to year, or does it stay? Will it always be London? Will it always be at the north? And to even make things worse, guys, Fiji and Japan. I know Japan are going to be playing Ireland in Australia because Ireland didn't want to travel to Japan because it's too far. Fiji is going to be playing one of their home games in Europe. which now these sort of obviously these are sort of I don't want to get too political. We don't want to get too political, but obviously you do see these dynamics. Eddie Jones already went off on a podcast talking about this, how Japan will have to play Ireland in Australia and also Fiji, obviously with infrastructure and all those type of things. So this tournament obviously is the first of its kind. It's the first year it will be happening. Maybe we do see some improvements with how this is being structured. Maybe it will make sense. Obviously, we all want to be equal stakeholders in a tournament. We don't want to seem like we're visitors in a tournament. And I mean, if you heard Eddie Jones speak about him having to accept, having to play their home games away from home, because at the end of the day, as Japan, they need to play against the best to be the best. So yeah, that's that. But international rugby, perfect segue. Wales versus Barbarians happened over the past weekend. Twofold. We'll start with Wales. Wales, are they looking good? I'm not too sure. This is the Barbarians team that was given an 80-point belter by the Springboks, and they only managed, I'm not too sure, I think the score was 33-31. Wales winning that game. That win does not count towards the wins of Wales. Wales still can only beat Japan in terms of in the test arena. But on the flip of that coin, we had George North playing for the Barbarians, playing his last professional game ever, scoring 2 tries, a legend of the game in Wales. Jeepers, the try that he scored, the first one, running over players, doing what George North does best. But it was pretty touching to see George North. He walks away with 12 points in his last game, 2 tries, and a conversion. Big ups to a career. That guy terrorized us from his first test as a 19, 20-year-old, or however old he was when he started playing international rugby. He will be remembered, George North. It was a good send out for him. Springboks, Springboks, guys. So we will see. We will see what we can bring to you. But I think the least what we would love to bring to you is the press conference, team release press conference, and we would obviously love to bring to you a training session. But we will keep you guys updated on our socials. Do check out our Instagram channel or Instagram page, Rugga Muffin Podcast. Please do subscribe to the channel. Share these videos. We are still doing this out of our own pockets. The best thing that you can do for us is just to hit subscribe and obviously share this content. Let's have more people join us on a Sunday and have lunch with us with rugby. Springboks, a few things to touch on before we go into the actual game. Some stories coming out. I see Mabaso Taex. What did you do, Mabaso? You missed the game, my brother. I think you would have. I think you would have had a lot to contribute in the game at the beginning of the show. But guys, ticket sales, Ellis Park. Ellis Park is a 62,000 seater, and we currently have 21,000 tickets sold. Now, SA Rugby is hoping for a surge towards kickoff, but this is not looking good. It does look like the Springboks could be playing in a fairly empty Ellis Park. Ticket sales, obviously, a big topic. There's also a topic about the war going on, how that's affected people's pockets. A lot of things affecting this, but I think the one thing that jumps out to most people, and one thing that has sort of has become a thing lately, is the ticket price of the Springboks. And from my understanding, that Springbok brand is a little bit too expensive for the rand. Hence, we are playing in Baltimore, that fourth test against New Zealand. But that's a conversation for another day, closer to the time. There's also a chatter of a new Springbok jersey that may
Sorry,
be.
sorry.
Yes,
Was the rhyme deliberate?
which one?
The Springbok brand is a little expensive for the rand.
But
Did you pick it up?
sometimes I do those things
Okay,
without
okay.
planning them. I'm like that sometimes. It's the Springboks. No, it's not a rumor. There is secrecy with regards to how this jersey is going to look like. So the jersey is said that it will have the words Nkosi Sikeleli Africa written on the jersey. It does look like it's going to be a bit of a tribal jersey during that greatest rivalry. Now, the secrecy is behind the fact that the original Springbok jersey, the ones that they're wearing right now, the counterfeit, the fake versions of those jerseys were out in the market way before the original jersey was out. So they're holding on to that design. These first three tests, Scotland, England, Wales, original jersey, and then the greatest rivalry, there will be a release of a new jersey. I am excited for that jersey. Who is one of the most valuable brands in this country, still beating up its supporters so much? Man, questions, right? Questions. You have to keep the lights on because one could even might as well just jump onto it. Maybe that's the reason why we can even have 46 men squads. Most of the squads that have been released are 32, 33, 35 men squads because there's money involved with having more personnel, the visas that you need to pay for, the kit. I mean, those are Nike shoes that these boys are getting, all 46 of them. So the ends need to meet somewhere, I'm
Springbok
guessing.
Rugby needs to employ you. SA Rugby needs to employ you. We've got this
Yeah, I can be
thing
this.
figured out because everyone else is complaining. But the
Look,
article you are referring to, they said they're looking at tickets to pick up. They take up this week leading up to the test match. So we're still
yes.
hopeful.
No, no, no.
But 950 between 950 and 3,000, it's a bit steep for our economy.
950 being the cheapest ticket is crazy. What happened to $300?
But
I
hey,
mean,
four-time world champions,
there we
how much are
go.
you willing to pay to see back-to-back Rugby World
And,
Cup
and
champions?
and the argument is if Beyonce came to South Africa and started selling tickets for that amount, they'll be sold out in 2 hours. So if you think the Springboks are as valuable as Beyonce in your life, pay up.
So there you go, Maba. So X does not agree with you. He's seemingly living off the gravy train somehow, unlike the rest of us.
No, the gravy tray is there. It's just, sometimes there's always a flip to the coin. I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit here because this is a conversation that's being had over and over again, and I don't see it taking a step back. Because what does it mean when you cut the prices in half? Because now you have to explain that. What
So
happened?
here's the conversation that people have been having. If a ticket, say for argument's sake, is 500 and you only get 40% of the capacity of the stadium, wouldn't it be better to cut the prices to 250 and get 80% of the capacity? Would it always end up like that? If you cut it by double, does that automatically guarantee double the attendance? I guess that's what people were debating on one of these platforms the other day.
Yeah, no, because if you look at the fixtures just last season, even 2 seasons ago, I mean, Ellis Park when the Springboks lost to Australia, that was a packed Ellis Park. How much were the tickets then? So yeah, let's see. Let's lean onto the hope that SA Rugby has that closer to kickoff. And I think the more people get an understanding of this Nations Championship, because I think maybe a lot of people are just looking at the greatest rivalry as well. I mean, those are a lot of fixtures there. There's clubs playing against New Zealand. There'll be Sharks versus New Zealand, Lions versus New Zealand. So maybe a lot of people are waiting for that. We need to embark. We almost in our 30-minute mark here. Springboks versus England. What a fixture. So this fixture, I think, would have been a lot more exciting if England didn't go through what they went through in the Six Nations. I think the whole chatter about this fixture was so strong before the Six Nations because England were this unbeaten train and they were the best team in the world without even playing the best team in the world. That's how the North just moves. But now the tails are between the legs. The fact that they even picked Mauro Itoje for me is already a storyline where I feel like England are sort of coming in here just to pick themselves up. I don't think England are coming here to protect anything. I don't think England are here to make any statement. If they want to win, that's a fact. Any international team wants to win, but the reasons for winning are not the same because now it's almost now about the Springboks because the last time the Springboks played in Ellis Park was against Australia and we only managed to win the first 20 minutes of the game. And we were absent for the remainder of the 60 minutes in Ellis Park. So I think now everything is in our court. And being from the school of Rassie Erasmus, I don't think we're going to hold back. It does look like England have got a very young front row, a lot of injuries in England. I saw someone commenting saying that the front row age is younger than the midfield age. So the players who are going to be lining up, your Asha Poku for sure. Bino Obano. Is Jamie Joseph available? I'm not too even sure. But all those front row guys, young guys, um, perfect opportunity for Springboks to put a statement victory against England. We're not going to waste too much time with trying to predict starting lineups. I did try to attempt to do that. Do check out again. I implore you, go to our Instagram channel, check out the content that we put out for you guys there. I did try to catch a couple of guys that I feel will be starting, but I do see obviously that change at number 9 and 10. I do see Grant Williams starting there with Mani Libok. And obviously, I would love to see Vusi Moyo at number 23. A lot of these predictions have Andre Pollard on the bench. I do not know what you guys are up to. I do not know who you guys are trying to appease. Vusi Moyo, please, because Vusi could be playing right now, and I don't understand. That's a chat, actually. Do you? There's two ways that this could go. Now we're referring to Riley, Vusi, and Williams, Yako Williams. Now Yako Williams, I don't think would have been involved with the under 20s at all. But Riley and Vusi, does Riley and Vusi benefit more from playing one game against Wales for the Springboks than playing all the games in the Junior Rugby Championship? Which one would benefit these players more, right? Why not throw these kids in the cauldron, put them in the fire against England and see how they swim? Rassi did make a comment in his first press conference mentioning that one of his focuses this season is to give a couple of players caps, guys that he knows he will need in 2027. Now, how I think Russ is going to approach his team selection, especially for England, Scotland, and Wales, is that I think he wants to put in a lot more caps into your Cannon Moody's. He wants to put in a lot more caps into, I guess, Mani Libok, because Henry Pollard would have has a lot of caps, does he not? Talking about caps, I think Cheslin Kolbe. I'm not too sure who's the second player. I literally just saw this now. Cheslin Kolbe and another player. Oh, how am I forgetting this? But they will be playing their 50th test this weekend should they be picked to play against England. I'm just beating myself now because I can't remember. Is it Damien
Let me
Willemse?
quickly look it up for you.
It's Damien Willemse. I think I've just remembered. Damien Willemse, Cheslin Kolbe could potentially running out for their 50th test this coming weekend as well. But I mean, with those things being said, obviously Ron Norke is a guy you want to put caps into. He's definitely probably going to start with Eben if Eben is ready. But my argument is play Vusi, play Riley at least more than once,
So
especially if they're giving up game time with the juniors right now in Georgia.
yeah, so it's double World Cup winners Cheslin Kolbe and Damien Willems are both approaching their 50th test matches. Both players are on the brink of this major career milestone, heading into the 2026 season opener against England at Ellis Park.
There we go. So, and also, please, we cannot forget talking about Ellis Park, talking about Springboks. There's two Springbok teams. There's a Springbok team for the men, and there's a Springbok team for the women. And guys, please, let's get used to this. I enjoy what SuperSport is doing. Dini, maybe you may think, obviously, I'm a bit of a youngster. We trying to keep up with the social standards of the time. You cannot say Springboks and then continue to go describe the women's team. It must be Springbok men and Springbok women. This is the Springbok women squad that will be playing the USA. There will be curtain raisers for the Springboks in Ellis Park on the 4th of July. There will also be curtain raisers for and the Springboks on the 11th in Loftus. They'll be playing the US of A, and there is the squad in front of you. A couple of ladies missing out from injury, and I think one that's very important to note, Aseza Hele, the number 8, is not available for these two fixtures because of an injury. But obviously, we will be keeping track of the women who will, obviously, their training sessions, if we're able to go see those, we'll see if we can. But we want to keep the women also on the loop. Let's support the women. Let's watch the women's game. The more eyes in the game, the more views, the more sponsorships, the more money. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the show for this Sunday. We will be talking about a victory this coming weekend, this time. All right. We will be talking about how much we had dominated England in the scrums. We'll be talking about how dominant Andre Esterhuizen was at number 12. All right. We're going to be talking about a lot of good things. But I also want to preface by saying Look, I am a passionate fan. We will go through this together. We will see, should we get a loss, how I will react. I tend to stay away from socials when the Springboks are not doing well. But hey, we are in different stages now, so we'll have to come here and discuss it. Guys, until the next video, please do subscribe. Send this video to a friend, a family. Switch on the notifications. Stay tuned. We will bring you more content during this week. Until the next podcast, we out.